they're really quick. Okay, so we are on Unit 8B now, 8B.1. And technically what we're doing today is we are going to write logarithmic equations. Write logarithmic equations in exponential form.
You're going to ask if I'm here. I'm not supposed to be here.
Okay, write logarithmic equations in exponential form.
Did someone answer?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, if I gave you the equation for perimeter, which is 2L plus 2W equals P. Okay, if I gave you that equation, 2L plus 2W equals P. What does it mean if I ask you to solve for something?
You solve it.
No, but what does that mean to solve? What do you have to do to solve? Don't tell me the steps.
Find the answer.
Get a variable itself?
Get a variable by itself, or get it alone, okay? If I gave you the equation for perimeter, can you get W alone? Can you do that? Can I get W alone?
Yeah.
Can you? How would you do that?
2L.
You would subtract the 2L, so we'd get 2W equals P minus 2L. Then what?
Divide by 2.
We'd divide by 2. So W equals P minus 2L. So in just an equation, we know how to solve. We already know how to get a variable alone or get a variable by itself. Okay, what if I gave you an equation like...
Wait, isn't it over 2?
Sorry. Good job. Okay, sorry. What if I gave you something like 3 to the x equals 8? 3 to the x equals 8. Can you get x alone?
Yes.
Can we solve that? Can we? 3 to what power equals 8? Is that one that we just automatically know?
No.
We do not know that. Okay? What we're going to learn today is something called logs or logarithms. Okay? Logs, they're kind of like a stepping stool. Okay? Logs give you a way to get an exponent by itself. Okay, so logs will give you a way to solve for exponents. And these are exponents that we don't already have memorized or that we do not already know. Okay, so there is a rule that you are going to need to learn. Okay. We need to know the equation b to the e equals a. Okay, b to the e equals a. That can be converted, okay, this is something called exponential form. Okay, b here stands for a base, e is an exponent, a is an answer. Okay, so b is the base, e is the exponent, a is the answer. If I convert that, I can convert that into something called log form. It becomes log base b of a equals e. Now, I know this is confusing for right now, but for the moment, just write this down. Okay? Just write this part down. Okay, and remember that this is the base, this is the exponent, and this is the answer. Okay, so same thing here. This is the base, this is the answer, and that is an exponent. All we are going to be doing today is just converting in between the two forms. Right? And most of the time we're going to be going from log form to exponential form. Now, like I told you earlier, it might be a little confusing when we first start it because you haven't seen something like this. But we'll go through quite a few. And by the end of today, you should be good at this. Okay, so your instructions are going to say rewrite in exponential form. Rewrite in exponential form. Okay, something like for number 1, log base 6, so the 6 goes like a subscript, so it goes below. Log base 6 of 216 equals 3. Log base 6 of 216 equals 3. Log base 6 of 216 equals 3. Thank you. Okay, first thing you want to do when we're converting things from log form to exponential form is I want to write the answer. Okay, I want to write what it equals. I'm going to flip this around. Okay, so first, and you're not always going to have to flip them, but things are always presented to you in this form. Okay, where the equals and then just the number is always on the right side. I'm going to tell you to, when we first start these, I want you to flip them. Okay, now the way we write this is I want you to read this as, okay, so literally read that equation as 3. If you see equals log, we say is the exponent on, so 3 is the exponent on 6 that makes 216. Okay, so I want you to read it that way, and then we're going to write it as an exponential equation. So 3 is the exponent on 6 that makes 216. How would I write that as an exponential equation? 3 is the exponent on 6 that makes or equals 216. That is your answer. That's all we're doing today. Okay? We're just converting this to this, and that's it. Okay? The key here, though, is going to be the way you read these equations. Okay? I want you to literally read them in this exact way every single time, and it's really easy to change things into exponential equations. Okay? And then we're done. Because is 6 to the third equal to 216? Yes, that's it. So we've changed this from an exponential equation to a log equation. Now, what we're going to be dealing with today are exponents that we already know. Okay, so we really don't have to have them in what's called log form. What we will start dealing with tomorrow is exponents that we don't know. Okay, so those you have to use in log form. Okay, so let's try another one. And we're going to do the same thing. Same thing, I just want you to rewrite these in exponential form for number 2. And I know you might not understand it perfectly to begin with. Log base 4 of 256 equals 4. Log base 4 of 256 equals 4. Now remember, if you have log base b of a equals e, that converts, okay, and these can go back and forth, that converts to b to the e equals a. So the first thing you want to do, and you're not always going to have to do this, but when we're first writing these, I want you to start flipping them. Okay, I want the log part on the right side of the equation. So 4 equals log base 4 of 256. So if I read this literally and say it out loud the way that I just showed you, we say 4 is the exponent on 4 that makes 256. And that's your answer. Okay, so you always want to say them that way. 4, or whatever the number is the exponent on your base that makes the answer.
The way you said answer. Like you
I know, right?
It was fun, sorry.
Between exponent and answer. Okay, that's your answer. Okay, let's try another one. For number 3, I want you to rewrite in log, or excuse me, in exponential form. Log base 5 of 1 equals 0. Log base 5 of 1 equals 0. If you need to, you can flip these, and it's always just a good idea for when you're first starting to write these. So if I read this correctly, we say 0 is the exponent on 5 that makes 1. Does that make sense? Is 5 to the 0 equal to 1? That's it. So we're just converting from log form to exponent form. Simple enough, hopefully? Okay, let's try another one. For number 4, okay, I want you to, let's try going backwards. Okay, let's try and going from log or from exponential form to log form, because that's a little bit more difficult for people. Okay, I want you to write 2 to the negative 2 equals 1/4, but in log form. Okay, write it in log form. So I'm going to go backwards, because I do want you to be able to write them both. Go both ways. So if I'm going to go backwards, how would I write this? Negative 2 is the exponent on, so we write equals log. So negative 2 is the exponent on 2 that makes 1/4. That is how you would go backwards. Okay, so if I was going from exponent form to log form. Okay, now it doesn't particularly matter if you have the log on the left side or the right side. Most of the questions you're going to see, you're going to have them on the left side. But when we're writing things, it's usually easier to write it in this order. You can always flip them if you need to, but it's not completely necessary right now. Anyone have questions so far? Yes.
Would you read it the same way, or how would you read that?
This one?
Yeah.
Negative 2 is the exponent on 2 that makes 1/4. But if it's written this way, you have to read it like backwards. You have to start on the right side and then go to the log. And you can still do that. And eventually you guys will get used to these enough that you'll be able to read them somewhat backwards. So you'll say 4 is the exponent on 4 that makes 256. But right at the beginning, it's a little bit easier if we rearrange them. Okay? Let's try another one. I want you to write another exponential equation. Log 0.001 equals negative 3. Log of 0.001 equals negative 3. Now, we are not used to working with decimals very often. But that's okay. We can still work with decimals. So how would you write this as an exponential equation? We're going to write it backwards. Negative 3 is the exponent on what? That makes 0.001. There's something missing here.
So 1?
Is it 1 to the negative 3? What is 1 to the negative 3? What is 1 to any power? 1 to any power is 1. Let's think about this. How would you write this as a fraction? This is 1 over what? 1 over 10? 1 over 100? 1 over 1,000? 10,000? A million? How do you do this? 1, 2, 3 spaces. So it would be 3 zeros. So 1 over 1,000. Now, what to the negative third power would give you 1 over 1,000? 10. Okay, think about it. 10 to the third power would give you 1,000, right? And negative exponents make fractions. So really, this is 10 to the negative third equals 0.001. The challenge here is, if there's ever a missing base here, it is always assumed to be base 10. Okay, it's kind of like if you ask someone, how old are you? And you say 16. You don't have to say positive 16. It's just assumed that it's positive. Same thing goes with logs. Okay, if there's not a base there, we assume that it is base 10. Base 10, you do not have to write the 10. Okay, so if it's missing, it's a base 10. Okay, try another one for number 6, excuse me. Number 6. Log base 7 of root 7 equals 1/2. Log base 7 of root 7 equals 1/2. So if I want to write this in exponential form, can someone read this to me? How would I write it in exponential form? Go ahead. AJ, how would you say? 1/2 is the exponent on 7 that makes root 7. So yes, 7 to the 1/2 power equals root 7. Now, again, just like last unit. If you are not careful with your exponents, which a lot of you on our last test made this mistake, make sure it's an exponent, not something that's on the same level as the base, because a lot of people were multiplying things when really it was an exponent. Okay, so that was a really big mistake on our last test. So be careful about that. Is 7 to the 1/2 equal to root 7, by the way? Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's true. Okay. Just a couple more. I want you to try for number 7. I want you to write in exponential form log base r of m equals n. Log base r of m equals n. Log base r of m equals n. Okay, so how would I go about writing this? How would I go about?
That is good.
You.
How are you?